Yes, there are a number of, one might say, preliminary cues or omens as to the future that one can detect in sex offenders. But this doesn't mean we can necessarily prevent the offense, because under our laws, a person cannot be, they cannot be held, or nothing else can be done with them until they have actually committed an offense. So even if a person we know to be potentially a sex offender, there's little that can be done legally about him.
Do you think these laws can be changed, or should they be changed?
I think probably there shouldn't be any laws that would permit people to be, let's say, incarcerated prior to an offense. No, that's too much like a police state. But I do think that if we can pick up these symptoms in time, we can perhaps divert these people to psychiatrists, or perhaps we can get social workers or other public officials to deal with them.
Are we making any progress at all? This is a subject that has been taboo for a long time, and now people are starting to talk about it and at least try to find a solution because of the publicized cases. Is it any better now? Are we making any progress toward treating these people than we were, say, 10 years ago or so?
Yes, some. But of course, one thing that everyone forgets when one talks about sex offenses, when one ordinarily says a sex offender or sex offense, one thinks of just the more striking things, such as child molestation, rape, something of that sort. Actually, our laws concerning sex are so stringent that there are many, many other persons who are classed and convicted as sex offenders who aren't dangerous at all. For example, having premarital intercourse is fornication and is a sex offense. You can do time for it. Intercourse between, let's say, a boy and a girl both aged 18 and perhaps even engaged to one another. This is a sex offense under the laws of the state. So there are many sex offenses which frankly don't require treatment. They're illegal, but they're normal statistically. The ones that we should concern ourselves with are these relative few, like child molestation, rape, exhibitionism, and let the others go.
Now, do you think the laws, we hear a lot about the new morality and that a lot of these offenses that you spoke about that aren't actually criminal offenses, that are against the law now, should these be changed? Should our sex laws in the country be changed?
Many persons think so, and I'm inclined to agree with them. The American Law Institute, which is a body of America's most scholarly and prestigious attorneys, has advocated that there only be 3 sex laws, and all other sex laws be abandoned. These 3 laws are: 1, a law to prevent sexual behavior involving force, in other words, a law against rape. Secondly, there should be a law against sexuality between adults and children. And thirdly, there should be a public nuisance law preventing people from behaving sexually in public. And those are the only 3 laws they feel are socially necessary, and they advocate that the others be discarded.
Do you feel the same way?
Yes, frankly. Or to put it in a more positive form, this group, the American Law Institute, has suggested that what occurs between consenting adults in private not be a matter for law. And lest you think this was just some scholarly or perhaps egghead group of attorneys that promulgated this idea, let me hasten to say this is also the viewpoint of the Quakers and the Anglican Church of England and the Group for the Advancement of Psychiatry. So almost any organization that turns its attention seriously to the matter of sex laws has thus far ended up with these three basic laws.
Now, the Indiana Institute for Sex Research, I believe is that the title of it, which you're the director?
Institute for Sex Research.
Became quite prominent back in 1953 with the late Mr. Kinsey, who you were associated with, in his book. We haven't heard much since then. Are you still doing the same type of research down there and publishing books out of the Institute?
Yes. In 1958, we put out a book, Pregnancy, Birth, and Abortion. In 1965, we put out the book on sex offenders. And at present, we have 2 projects nearing completion on which we should publish within a year or so. One is a sample of college students clear across the nation, in which we will ascertain not only how college students handle sexuality, but whether there really has been a sexual revolution or not. And a second study is concerned with homosexuality in a large city.
All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.